Droners, welcome to this edition of Droner U, and it's about to be the most turned thing ever. We're about to talk about drone insurance. Oh! Okay, so I know it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but it is possibly the most relevant. You should definitely pay attention to this. Take notes. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, but pay attention because this is going to be some good stuff for you. Being a commercial pilot myself, permits that I've pulled for different municipalities, specifically in Los Angeles and around the country, require that I have some form of insurance on top of my production insurance that I already do have, which would be drone insurance is what we're talking about here. They require certain limits. They might say that you have to have a certain amount of insurance, $1 million, $2 million. Some even ask up to $5 million. It really just depends on who you're talking to and what you're talking about doing. You need to have insurance, and that's something that if you're gonna want to make money with a drone, you're going to need to do it if you're gonna be flying cameras professionally. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about the hobbyist and we're going to talk about professional use. We're going to start off with hobbyists. As hobbyists, sometimes there is some circumstances where you actually already may be covered for drone insurance under your home insurance policy. If you're flying at your house and something happens to your house or something like that, then your home insurance may cover it. This is a question you'll need to be asking your home insurance providers and saying, hey, if I crash my drone into my house or somebody else does, what happens? Like, do they cover it? Like, how does that work? There are some home insurance policies that do cover it, so it's definitely worth looking into. I wouldn't depend upon it without actually knowing. And getting insurance for a hobbyist can be a little bit tricky because normally they're only covering people that are doing commercial flights. A lot of insurance companies won't even cover you just because, oh yeah, I just like to fly for fun. But there is actually a middle ground. There are some drone companies or drone insurance companies that offer coverage per occurrence that you fly or something like that. One of them is I've actually covered it before. It's called Verifly. It can be it's an app that you can download and you can pretty much get drone insurance by the hour, like as low as $10 an hour. And this is actually what I would recommend, something along these lines, to be able to be insured if you're flying something that you know as a hobbyist. Like, for example, like just because I'm a commercial drone pilot doesn't mean I'm always flying as a commercial drone pilot. Like I might be flying my friend's drone that he just bought that hasn't been insured yet. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just put it on Verifly for the few hours that we're gonna fly, pay 20 bucks, and if anything happens, then we're covered. Is really what we're looking at. So that's what I recommend. Make sure you check it out. It's up to $1 million coverage, and yeah, it's a good thing for hobbyists. And the last thing is, if you're a hobbyist and you're flying with some clubs and groups actually cover their pilots. The IDRA just announced that they're covering all their drone racers and drone insurance as well. So some drone clubs may offer you insurance worth looking into. So for commercial pilots, commercial drone coverage gets a little bit more nitpicky, but this is something you're going to need regardless if you have the 333 exemption or if you're a Part 107 pilot. A lot of companies are still playing catch up when it comes to the Part 107 because it's still so new. A lot of companies don't even really know it exists yet because they're not up on the new stuff with drone stuff. They haven't been watching Droner, obviously. But when you do get ready to apply for drone insurance, there's a bunch of stuff you're going to need. First of all, you're going to need your license number from the FAA. You're going to need your registration from your drones from the FAA, any logged hours of flights, list of equipment that you have, payloads that they can carry, serial numbers, the cost of how much those drones cost, obviously the value of them, and any past accidents you may have had or claims you've ever had for insurance involving drones, which I assume you probably haven't had since it's so new. That's what you're going to need. And there's a couple different ways to approach it. You can either go and actually just Google it and figure out drone insurance stuff and figure it out, or you can go to insurance brokers. These are people that offer production insurance, offer other different kinds of production. It is kind of like finding a middleman, but it's useful because they'll be able to offer you a range of different insurance policies, as well as they have relationships with these insurance companies, and they'll be able to guide you and say, look, this is the information you should give them and the information you shouldn't. I personally went through a broker, and it really made life easier. So when you're getting this drone insurance, there's two different kinds of drone insurance. There's liability coverage and there's hull coverage. The liability coverage covers if you hurt somebody, or if you damage someone's property. The hull coverage is what's going to fix the drone itself if you break the drone. Obviously, companies like DJI offer hull protection policies, DJI Care, which is just like Apple Care. That is your hull insurance, pretty much. And then the liability coverage is really what you're going to be looking for to be able to do the commercial flights in municipalities, in cities, and in areas, and that's going to be able to cover any of the damage of anything that's going on around and any of the people. So there you guys have it. That's a brief overview of what drone insurance is. You pretty much need it, but always take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt because you have to know how insurance companies work. They're a for-profit institution. They're trying to make money. And they're also, I don't know, like for example, I recommended Verifly earlier. I personally don't know anybody who's ever been paid out a claim from Verifly, and I don't know anyone who ever done a claim personally for an insurance company on a drone incident or accident that's been paid out. I know people that have the insurance policies, they haven't ever put a claim in. All I'm saying is make sure you read the fine print because they're there to make money, and you should make sure that you know that they're not there to pay you for the accidents. They're there to make money and try their best not to pay you. So make sure you read the fine print, know what you're getting into. read everything and just, cover your own butt. Droners, thank you for enjoying this Droner U episode with me. I'm actually making another episode that's going to detail my experience in going through and getting drone insurance that will tell you the different rates, things that they ask for, and policies for different drone companies, drone insurance companies, and what's really out there right now. So stay tuned for that. Also, if you wanted to see more about drone stuff in general, you can click here because I like to do drone stuff in general. Or the intro video's up there, which is always awesome. Make sure that you support us by checking out the Patreon link below or subscribing or doing both because that would be awesome. And as always, stay fly.